Okay. Up in here. Hey, serpent. Oof, hold on. I cannot hear you for some reason.
Aha!
Oh, there we go. I was like, oh no, do I gotta troubleshoot audio problems now?
I'm double hearing your voice.
Oh, probably stream.
Oh wait, it's probably because I have your stream not muted. Huh? Silly me. Better.
Yeah, we'll wait and see if Shay and everybody joins in.
We shall see.
If not, you get a solo adventure.
Fantastico.
And that'll have a lot more improv that I need to do.
Yeah, probably.
That's okay. I'm used to it. The one of the groups went last night. It went way too long, but it was fun.
Yeah, I think I remember you mentioning it went to like 5 a.m. your time.
Yeah, I am running on just piss and vinegar at this point in time. I always love this music. Hey chat, how's everybody? Hey Vanilla, hey Nuclear, hey Copter and Braddy and Havoc. You don't sleep. I'm gonna have to probably adjust some things on stream. This is obviously vastly different from last night. I spent all day doing this as well as like reorganizing everything, and so I am just running on fumes, but you know what? I don't care. We're gonna get it done. How are you doing today, Serpent? You're gonna have to get used to the what. This is much brighter than what I usually do. %. Usually I go much darker, so I'm like, you know what? Let's do something a little bit different.
Also, I bottled a batch of mead that I've been making for the past 5 weeks, and now drank all of it.
Oh, is that celebration for tonight?
Oh no, I finished it off last night, but yeah, I like the so the girl's mom. I brought her a bottle of it, and I had a bottle for me, and so she tried it, and she liked it a lot, and I tried it, and I was like, this thing is delicious, so I'm gonna be making more.
Oh, good. I've always been interested in making meat. I just haven't. You know, it's like when you're like, I want to do this. I want to be a cowboy. I want to be a firefighter. Like, I have the mindset of a child when it comes to my attention span. So it's always been something that has interested me. But who knows if I'll ever do it.
I mean, I've had a similar mind, but I think that's the ADHD speaking on my part. So
yeah, it's very likely the same for me. I'll throw out a here in a second, see if anybody is anybody forgot. If not, we could talk for a bit.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, like I made like jewelry and stuff in high school and college. Just it wasn't great, but it was like, hey, I can solder metal and cut pieces and hammer it out into shape, what have you. That was fun. But yeah, doing the mead thing, I was browsing TikTok. Some guy's like, hey, you want to do something this weekend, but you don't have the stuff to make mead, but you'd like to know how? I got you. So, and he just like, here's a quick explanation how to set it up. I'm like, that looks easy. I could get that.
Yeah, I may have followed either the same person or a similar person. I'm like, that sounds like an interest that I could lose myself in for a weekend or a month or something.
Well, yeah, and the nice thing about mead, and I've been doing a lot of research on it because, you know, hey, it's become a new special interest. Yay! But yeah, apparently The nice thing about mead is that as long as you're starting out pretty sanitary, it's really, really hard to screw it up.
Oh, that's good then.
Like, the main thing is like honey in and of itself is one, it doesn't spoil. It doesn't go bad. It'll dry out, crystallize, but honey doesn't spoil. So in and of itself, it's already antibacterial, antimicrobial, whatever. So when you have, honey and water and yeast, those three things combined, as long as you're not letting oxygen sit and get into it, and you're not letting bugs get into it, it shouldn't get moldy. It shouldn't go bad. It should be fine. There's a YouTube channel I started following, and he says, like, yeah, we have, it is like, if you see anything like green or black or blue growing on top of your brew, throw it out. That's not good. I've not seen it in the years and years and years I've been brewing. I've not seen it once, so it doesn't happen often, at least with doing mead and the stuff we do. But
It does sound magical.
If it happens, that's when you throw it out.
Oh yeah, and it's good that there's clear indicators, and as long as you're sterilizing like the jugs that you're fermenting in and everything, it sounds like it's pretty foolproof. I mean, shit, what people have been doing it for ages, so
people have been doing it by accident. Like according to the Make Mead channel. Hello, Doc. But according to his channel, he said, like, he was pointing out that there's indications we may have seen when the first meads happened in Africa some like 20,000 years ago, because you would have a hollow tree that would have a beehive in it, and then there would be like an area below that would collect water, and the honey would drop into the water, and yeast is just naturally in our environment. That over time could very well have started to ferment and create some of the first meads just on accident.
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I know also historically that there are some residues reminiscent of fermented honey, mead type stuff in, I think, like Chinese jars from like 7,000 years ago.
Yeah, honey in itself, in my eyes, is like divine. It's something that's lovely because it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't really spoil. It just crystallizes, and then I forgot what it was. They were someone was obviously excavating some pyramids and found some honey, and it was still able to be eaten after that much time.
Bring to the big drink.
Serpent's got some kids. They're funny to listen to in the background from time to time.
I can't do that when I'm buying one meal. Stop fussing. Bring me 2 cups and I'll split it.
He's raising little nerds.
Hey, child diagram.
Sorry, it's perfectly fine. You're raising a couple little nerds, right?
I am.
That's good. Gotta get them when they're young.
I could have started them out like with stuff like Minecraft. So I actually have a Minecraft server I set up that I play Minecraft with them on.
Yeah, Minecraft's an easy go-to for youngins. Plus, they can learn about, essentially programming.
Oh yeah, and mind you, I don't think they're quite ready for all the like the redstone stuff that way. But yeah, it's like they like building stuff. They figured out how to raise animals. They've learned. I've watched some of the things they've built. It was like they created their own patterns and so forth. And I was like, oh hey, that's really pretty, really clever. Okay. Yeah.
That's awesome. How's everybody in chat? We're gonna get started probably in about 10 minutes. I think it should start at about 10:30. So, chill out for a little bit. We're just gonna wait for everybody to show up, which is only 2 other people. Ooh, Zarm. And then we'll get down to starting these gentlemen off on their scenario. Yesterday we had a full run till about, we started at 11:45 EST and went till about 5 o'clock EST. The combat took way longer than expected, but it's a group of 4, so it was a little bit longer, and it was fun, and they apparently had a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll continue that group, and we'll see what happens with a couple other groups. this group will run tonight, and then next week on Friday, I believe at 9 actually, we will have our third group go. And ooh, nice arm. Once I get everybody through their first session, I will likely see who in the community is wants to possibly join from time to time in like little exposure sessions with like a character they made within this custom setting. You probably haven't, Nuclear, but I appreciate you stopping by. I'm more narratively driven. I'm very loose, typically kind of loose on rules, depending on what they are. If it makes sense within the confines, the rule of cool is always paramount in my games. So I'm not like a super strict stickler for rules unless it makes sense. Yeah, I'm super narrative driven. I really enjoy it when my players develop their storyline, and most of my players have. They all have like interesting storylines within the custom setting that we have, and I'm really kind of excited to see how they all evolve in it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Should be pretty fun. And then as we move on, I'll refine this layout more and more. This is just something that I pieced together literally today, and it's better than what it looked like yesterday, so we're gonna move forward with it for the time being. Zarm, what kind of campaign are you playing in?
Okay, delivery missed one of our items.
Uh-oh. Was it that damn Amazon?
No, it was DoorDash.
Oh, okay, food. Food is important. Also, Serpent, or the Serpent, or Dahkiir, his art was done by an artist friend within another group, and they mostly do like anime and stuff, but their art for some of the like the D&D stuff that they've done is really cool looking.
Is that was one of my daughters, so she didn't get her entire thing.
Oh, remember to by a guy I met on the XP to level 3 Discord. Oh, cool. Hey, Shay.
Howdy.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. It's been a really chill Saturday.
I am happy to hear that.
How's everybody else?
I'm doing good.
Nice to hear.
I said it before, I'm sleep deprived, but I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rock this.
All right. I'll
Let's
do my
do
best
this.
to not throw many curveballs.
You know what? As long as we're having fun, I really don't care.
Sounds good.
What kept me up?
I'm really
Doss,
glad
you know.
that I could make a legit character sheet here, so thanks, Serpent. I appreciate that. And thanks for letting
no problem.
me utilize the resources there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that too, Serpent. It's it makes it much easier to keep track of everything, at least on this end, until I can find out a better way, but this is a pretty good way so far, so it really helps out.
Oh yeah, hey, I like being helpful.
Who gave you a sub? I think it was Kronos yesterday.
I've been checking out the No Man's Sky update
Thursday.
Just released.
I heard they did a lot of updates. I don't really get into No Man's Sky just because I have it. I just didn't get into it, but I heard they're updating a lot of stuff on it. I can't remember Zarm. I think it was on Thursday though. He gave out a few subs when we were playing Proteus.
I haven't played No Man's Sky in a hot minute.
Well, they've added a lot of new things, and they really like have just changed the nature of the game from what it was when it first launched. So it's actually a pretty fun game. Lots of exploration, lots of flying around.
Das, right now,
Truly,
of course it is Zarm.
Oh yeah.
Right now, Das, it'll be whenever we get our next ones scheduled. I have the next group after this one Friday of next week, and that's it. Hey, movie.
Howdy.
Cool. So we got everybody. Take a few minutes, and then I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see if I can get Mohi's sound down a little bit. I don't know how loud he is on Discord, really. I've not gotten to balance people up.
I should have walked more before this.
You're gonna be sore.
Gave myself some walkies.
I just didn't want you to overload yourself in DMing. I'm happy to wait. Oh yeah.
Yesterday.
I'm gonna do it on a scheduled.
Mostly in that I took the twins over to the Children's Museum.
Ooh.
So.
Like a scheduled basis. We'll just kind of wing it with the next scheduled game, and then we'll go from there.
Was there like a particular exhibit or just?
There is for this particular game. I mean, I have my like personal gaming one.
It's mostly just a thing where like they have a whole bunch of activities and stuff for kids to.
I'll wait for them to get done.
Explore, do a little bit of art, run around and expend a whole lot of energy. That kind of thing.
Oh.
I'll turn it down just a little bit. But yeah, they're essentially what I have is the custom setting has its own Discord because I find it easier to maintain, and then it's basically a D&D setting that me and a couple of individuals like Havoc and Little have worked on. I'm gonna get hopefully Braddy to help me out. It all depends on, I guess, time frames, and then yeah, all the custom stuff is published there. I have no sanity. That is correct. Thank you, Braddy. Okay, sorry, I was hashing stuff out. But yeah, I think at the start we'll kind of mirror of what the previous group did. We played yesterday, which is super fun. Played for way too long, but I'll try not to keep everybody a super long time tonight. We'll just try to get through most, if not all, of what I've kind of had planned, or whatever we can improvise and go from there. What I had them do was essentially just kind of like give a brief explanation or a description of your character. Nothing that's too revealing, just something that you would normally share with someone that you have just recently met, or like a new acquaintance or a new friend. You don't have to reveal your poker hand, so to speak, but something that can give anybody that might be listening in a nice little hint of who your character is. So if you want to start, Serpent, you're more than welcome to.
So Dahkiir Kinson Tu Sagol is a dragonborn, a brass-scaled dragonborn who tends to carry himself in a fairly refined way of sorts. He's friendly, likes to chat around with people. He tends to be friendly to just about anyone he meets, and more than happy to buy someone a drink if they're interested. He enjoys lounging about the local taverns, or trying out new foods, and kind of looking around and wherever he can go. He's rather well dressed and well spoken, and kind of tall, a little bit over 6 foot tall, and of a decently healthy build. But more than anything else, Dahkiir seems to spend a whole lot of time enjoying himself and a whole lot of other time trying to avoid doing anything really of importance. He does seem to be a wizard. He's often seen studying spells or discussing magic from time to time, writing stuff down in a spell book that he has taken a lot of time to peruse. But overall, he's he's fairly friendly, and definitely seems to come from some sort of well-bred family, though he doesn't really talk about it a whole lot.
Good old brass dragonborn, huh? All right, Shay?
Lorley Dwoonkill is a dwarf from, oh, I forget the name offhand.
You're basically a mountain dwarf. So you're from the spine of Mons underneath that particular territory.
Yeah. On the surface, they appear to be a barfly, but they tend to use most of their time either exploring, taking on odd jobs, or studying, because he is also a magic user and a wizard. He doesn't really talk too much about his home, unless you either get him drunk or get to know him. But it's very clear that he's determined and driven, and it's almost like he's possessed by something. Maybe a little worrisome, but otherwise not super harmless. Like, he's harmless, but maybe a little passionate, and it could be a little off-putting to people who don't know him. He's a short... well, I mean, he's a dwarf, so he's shorter than most of the beings in town, but seems to be decently equipped, well-prepared, wears a purplish robe, and is otherwise very, oh goodness. What else? Do I have anything else on here? Oh. And is sometimes seen with a sooty-looking owl.
Ooh. Thought you were gonna say someone else for a second.
A sooty-looking owl named Quill.
Interesting. Alright, and Mohi?
I'll probably be going by several names, one of which will be my real name, but you're probably not going to find that out until much later on. So we'll just leave it at that for now. Will likely be found in one of the higher end taverns looking for somebody who's had probably a bit too much to drink and might not be so watchful of their things.
All right. Pretty spot on. I'll give you guys kind of like a preface to basically why you're all together at this point in time. Of course, Dahkiir and Lore are kind of made a almost like a semi-acquaintance slash friendship over basically a lot of things. Obviously, Dahkiir, from what you've described, your character is definitely an individual that is just intrigued with a lot of information, and Lore seems to have a lot of information, so you kind of hit off by being a good listener and a good talker, and why not bring that together in a common place such as like a bar from time to time, or a tavern. And that seems to be a very unifying thing between the two of you. And, you know, there has been some like friendship bonds that have kind of evolved a little bit over time. It hasn't been too long since you all met, but for the most part, you know, it does seem to be rather genuine between the two of you. As far as Mohi's character is concerned, the mystery name, your adopted family's essentially organization has gotten a request for you essentially to make yourself known to these individuals, which is basically Dahkiir and Lore, and you are essentially I'd say more or less like a bodyguard to a degree. And you're being paid to do this. This isn't something that's free or of your own goodwill. You are allowed to do whatever you want in the meantime while they are in their leisure state. But if they ever need an escort or are doing quote-unquote official business, you're expected to basically follow and make sure that essentially if they encounter a problem, that problem disappears.
I'm the bodyguard? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, you are technically the bodyguard, and if you can't take care of the problem, at least you will report back to essentially your quote-unquote families. It's basically a thieves guild. They want all the information you can because they're the benefactor that has hired them, and by extent you needs to know what's going on essentially with anything that they're doing.
Fair enough.
So at this time, I will give you guys like the setup and like a brief little narrative intro, and then we'll go from there. The atmosphere in the boisterous bard is always calmer in the morning. Hungover patrons stir to their feet from the corner tables while cast and crew of the tavern perform their morning rituals of cleaning up any missed unsightly messes and prepping the food for the waking crowd. It's quiet, and preferably so for those looking for conversation, not overshadowed by the screams and slurring speeches of intoxicated nobles, common folk, and adventurers drowning their days out in an alcoholic haze. A silent monk enters, quietly requests something on the of the halfling or half-elf waitress, and settles into a peaceful state at their round table in a meditative state. Brief moments preceding, a goblin dressed in similar attire emerges from the kitchen with a prepared drink of some kind, emitting steam and an aroma unfamiliar to those who are not avid tea drinkers. The spice sweet and piquant. Both bow respectfully for one another, but before the goblin takes a note of some kind, reads it carefully, then makes his way back into the kitchen. The orc, after enjoying the tea in silence, takes their leave, a representation of calming microcosms of mornings within the bard. The bar, while sparse of patrons, is comfortable. The view of on-tap beverages and spirits complement the hearty bar food of dry meats, cheeses, and nuts resting behind the seaborn barkeep wiping down the countertop. Everything to help complement a morning business discussion on the complexities of a plan steeped in saving someone's mountain home. Can I get you gentlemen anything? The gruff Stout motions to Lauren Dahkiir, then eventually to Ashton, seated slightly farther away.
Oh, but of course, my good man. Yes, so something like could you perhaps maybe I could get the spiced wine. You know, just a little bit, something light.
Just kind of nods to you and then looks to Lore. Lore's like, nah, never mind.
Well, you know what he always gets. I'll
Sorry, I was muted.
Okay.
I'd like your darkest ale.
Going for something a little stout early, huh?
You gotta start early, otherwise you can't go late.
Then he gives another nod, and then he looks basically, I would assume probably to the end of the bar. You're probably scoping out everybody else, the morning crew, essentially, of the Boisterous Bard, which is a tavern in the Market District. You're just checking everybody else out, Mohi, and seeing, like, probably some marks that you can score on. But, you know, he's, you catch the barkeep basically motioning your way to see if you want anything to eat, drink, or whatever.
He'll just motion to the bartender, you know, wave him over quietly and just speak softly. Whiskey and tea, little hair of the dog.
He, basically slaps the top of the bar. He's like, all right, man of my own heart. And basically the Stout, which is the dwarf, basically goes and starts looking at his collection of spirits and whatnot that he has out front, and eventually disappears because it looks like he doesn't have everything in the back, allowing you to continue to talk about whatever you need to talk about. But for the most part, Dahkiir, you know for certain that you need to go over some details with Lore, as you two have come to an agreement that, more or less, you have thought it'd be pretty nice to essentially be able to have an agreement where your influence can be used to help Lore's funding.
So, my friend, I understand that you're wanting some funding, yes?
Oh, yes. You see, I have a great many plans. Now that I've come into a few different ways forward on a cure for what's happening back home for the ancestral lands. I imagine with your sway and our information, we should be able to secure the funding we need to, well, secure anything we need to move forward. Anything you need, really.
Okay, I'm sure I can help with that. After all, if nothing else, I'm sure my family name will help me a lot in that respect. Much as I hate to admit it.
Ah, you should never be ashamed of who you are.
No, it's not a shame. It's more that I don't want anyone to think that I'm just going to trade entirely off just my family name. It's not my achievements, it's theirs.
Ah, got to make a name for yourself, I hear.
Well, yes, but I'd rather not be having to make my name doing paperwork.
Ah. I imagine there's a lot of ways to get your hands dirty for what I have planned.
Well, now you're speaking my language.
We're going to, Now, are they called spell locks?
Oh, the shard locks? Like the...
Shard locks?
Yeah, shard locks.
Now, the interesting thing about shard lock engineering currently is that magic has to be infused in pretty much every single part of it. We've got to find a material that more efficiently or cheaply does this. I imagine this would be one of our first tasks for wide-grade production. And this would, of course, be able to pay you back eventually.
Just give me you give me the details on it, and I can send it on to my family. Let them have a look at it as well. No, I'll just try to convince them it's a good idea.
Yes. I believe I could get all the information together and technical details from my partner and Smith buddy. Let's see here. I summon my owl Quill and sort of whisper to it, and it goes and flies off to my room and is going to start rifling through my chest for the appropriate paperwork.
All right, it's like basically your research that you've been kind of doing over the topic.
Right. Like, I have a lot of paperwork, but I don't carry it on me. I keep it in my chest up in my room, so...
Yeah, naturally. Being the individuals that you are, obviously, you're typically very... Because you obviously both like to talk a lot. Mohi, you could... Ashton could likely hear a lot of this, and you kind of start gathering...
Oh, he's taking mental notes.
You kind of gather, yeah, that... if they're dealing with firearms, you know specifically are like the shard locks are very hard and expensive to make. So there's clearly that a lot of money that's going to be involved with whatever transfer is about to happen.
Oh, his eyebrow raised when he heard that word.
And eventually, while the familiar is going to fetch the information, your barkeep Magnus. He'll have he'll get like his apron on and fix his name tag. Hello, my name is Magnus, and he comes back from the back with basically everybody's order. He's dishing out basically each individual drinks that you all ordered, and he sets Ashton up with just a bottle of whiskey and basically like a pot of hot tea with a cup.
Magnus, you're a fine gentleman indeed. Wonderful to have you around here. By the way, could you bring me a couple of those delightful little sausages you tend to have in the mornings, and maybe one of those griddle cakes?
Daddy?
Wonderful.
Oh, I'd like to join in those griddle cakes.
I'll put the order in. And then he just goes into the back. You hear him, like, the door close, and then he just, like, a muffled, "Hey, fix up some," you know, he just basically yells it, and it kind of echoes throughout the front in a semi-muffled manner, and you see some of the semi-cognizant tavern folk that are either just waking up or still hungover from the night before. They're basically stirring from the noise because they weren't quite prepared for it. But yeah, he'll put the order in for you.
Just close my eyes and rock back a little bit, like someone who has a migraine who's just heard a loud noise tends to do.
Yes.
Rubs his temple, pours whiskey into the cup, shoots it back, and then pours some tea into the cup. He's never here this early.
That is probably true. Go ahead and I would say, did it happen to link? Do you happen to know if that character sheet linked by any chance? Maybe like the
looks like it did.
The Discord stuff.
Yeah, I linked Discord after that, so it looks like it went through.
Okay. Roll just a quick like investigation for me, if you can, either in D&D Beyond or can you? I think
that
it's
doesn't seem to work.
Exclamation point roll. Should work that way.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
And that's what roll was that?
Just do an investigation. So if you have anything.
So there'll be 18 total.
Oh, okay. Yeah, despite the fact that you may be grumpy from the early morning stirring that you're having to do to follow essentially your quasi employers, you do happen to see a couple of nobles from the ministry district. They're here quite early. They don't seem to be like hungover to any degree, but just from the look of them, they look like they are just human nobles that decided to come for an early morning meal.
Okay.
But yeah, eventually the owl returns, and it has quite a few scrolls that it have been bundled together essentially, and drops them off in front of you, Lore.
Oh. I look a little vexed.
Yeah, I have it ready.
And well, you didn't need to bring all of them. Well, give me a moment. And I start sorting through the large pile. I only need like 3 of them, so like.
If an owl could shrug, it would just be like,
Yeah, pretty much. I expect too much of my owl, clearly. And I present 3 sealed scrolls to Dahkiir. And I say, now these are a copy of the current specifications of a basic shard lock, as well as my research in field operations for a current set of prototypes that my dealer has.
Oh, fantastic. No, I'll make sure to put them somewhere safe.
Perfect. Don't open them until you need them. That way you could, there's a... Let's just say they're protected.
Curses softly under his breath. Why am I regarding these ones? Damn it.
It's gonna be constantly like that for Mohi, I think. Oh goodness. Go ahead and just for like background knowledge sake, Laura, if you wouldn't mind, just roll an Arcana, and we'll see how much you've gathered, at least from your investigation so far into.
Ooh, it looks like we just started.
Yeah, very likely. Roll once more for me. I'll say you actually have advantage on it regardless.
That is better.
Yeah, that's much better. So you know that obviously the process is very long and difficult, which is why most of the shard locks are so expensive to make. The method in forging that you're trying to go through with would basically require you to have a substantial amount of aether that's been collected, and there's no real good way, at least locally, to do it. So you know for a fact that you're going to have to go through a lot of legal means in order to get the writs to do so. So it's going to involve a lot of parties. It is good, obviously, that you're reaching out to Dahkiir, who has a lot of reach, at least within his own circle. But it's very likely that you know the ex nihilo treasury, which is basically the World Bank, is likely going to be involved because they do legal, quote unquote, legal aether harvesting on the oceans a lot with their fleet. And that seems to be a very consistent way to get a fair amount of aether for the experimentation of, you know, possibly different forging methods on how to make shard locks.
Quick thing, could I get a link to the campaign so I can just roll from the website instead of doing it in Discord?
Yeah.
I think that's what I need to do.
My character is like 100%. We need to somehow mass produce these. This will obviously solve the problem, or at least make the problem less of a problem.
Oh, but of course.
Lore's gonna turn into the arms dealer at this point.
Right? I'm like, all right, I'm okay with this. Let's go that way, sure.
Well, the other wonderful thing is that Dahkiir, he's not trained in Arcana. He's just kind of smiling and nodding because he figures Lore knows what he's talking about.
Oh yeah, exactly. You have your own means, obviously, of acquiring, magical inspiration, but yeah.
I think Lore just appreciates somebody who's willing to listen to what probably sounds generally like mad raving.
Very obsessive over the fact, but I mean, at least to Lore, it seems like it would be a good cause to kind of invest in this, right?
Yes.
And while Dahkiir might be internally going, this is far too technical for me, at the very least, he's like, but this is fascinating and I like it. This guy's got passion.
I think to some degree, it's very likely your family may have heard about this particular friendship that you had forged through one way, shape, or form, and encouraged you to strengthen that tie. So it's kind of like a mutual thing, I think, between the two of you, that regardless of what morality backs up the decision, it is mutually beneficial.
And the duel and kill, remember, they're friends.
Well, and I like to be good to my friends.
Same here, same here. I toast to that. And I take a nice hearty swig.
Also raise my glass.
As you both are drinking, Magnus comes out with your Salus equivalent of Vienna sausages and presents them to you on a plate. Obviously, your food comes out, and he's just like, the tab is still open. You can pay for it however you want.
I have not had a flat cake
Bratty.
in a long time.
What am I at this point? Anyway.
think we
Anyway.
found our new
So,
brothel.
I imagine that we're either going to need to secure short-term funding, or, I guess go on an adventure and get some funding. That's also a possibility in this place.
Always in favor of methods of funding that don't involve the desk.
Well, yes. Well, then maybe we should go see if anyone needs some help.
Speaking of which, Dahkiir, you know for certain that you are still gonna have to make one trek to your desk relatively soon to get something officially signed. And that seal, the official seal, is back at your office, and basically you're gonna have to have Laura's signature and your stamp on that paperwork, basically to send out back to your family.
Speaking of which, we do have to do some other paperwork. I'm sorry to have to drag you into it, but I have to go back to my office, and I think I need you to sign for it.
Oh, of course. Got to make it official and make sure that everything's hunky-dory.
Yeah, there we go.
Das.
It shouldn't take long. It's just more of the dreary stuff my family has me do.
Of course. Well, do you want to do that after breakfast?
Well, definitely after breakfast. Let's not leave now. Let's enjoy what we have.
Oh, yes.
As you all are enjoying the sights and drinks and food, you notice that more and more of like the breakfast crew comes in. There's quite a few people that leave. It looks like there's a mixed group of individuals. They seem to travel together. They were saying some stuff over into the side, but it looks like a couple of monks and a tabaxi, which you've not really seen too many before in Salus. They and a tiefling essentially all exit together in one fashion, essentially, and it starts to clear out a little bit there, and then you see more of the morning crew who are either there to participate in getting food together, or trying to get maybe their loved ones that are a little bit too hungover and still haven't come home. You start to see more and more people kind of pour in as the morning crew essentially comes to participate in giving money to the boisterous bird.
Ah, yes. The energetic frenzy of the morning. Usually I come in after this. I should do more early morning breakfasts.
Groans and rubs his temples.
They winked.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily like making the early morning start. I'd rather sleep in, but business calls.
Indeed. And I try my little pancake. Like, is it I assume it's delicious. This place is incredible, I'm sure.
You know for certain that this place tries their best to have, I would say, as best as it can get for, I considered it, or I called it yesterday, the everyman, in quotes, everyman's tavern. It can suit for just about everyone, to be fair. So the food is renowned to be relatively good, I would say, most of the time. There's been some bad eggs once in a while. Not a full 5 stars. I'd say 4.5 stars on Salus Yelp, but it's genuinely a very hearty, wholesome, nice little place to eat at, especially in the morning. So you often see a lot of people come in.
Dahkiir is effusive in his praise anyway.
And Magnus is, of course, a perfect waiter. So, of course, I'd like to settle the tab with coin when I can.
I'll certainly throw down some money.
And give them a small tip, because we like them.
Das. He kind of gives you a look. He's like, it's mountain folk finally paying some dues, huh?
Yes, finally. You got me.
Well, I can't hold a grudge for very long, so thank you for paying your tab. I expect to see you all pretty soon, I suppose.
Indeed. You shall see us again.
So I'm
Dahkiir
assuming
also settles up for like I don't know how much he owes at this point, but he probably just like flip a gold coin to him. It's like that'll probably take care of it.
you owe him a narrative amount of money for the food.
Yeah, like I said, Dahkiir just toss him a gold coin. Yeah, that should probably take care of it.
Same as well.
It's probably a bit more. Like it'll cover Ashton's tab as well. By the way, Mohi, what are you proposing your name to them, by the way? Did you probably introduce yourself so they know you're not just like stalking them, obviously?
Oh, I thought I was following them without them knowing that I was following them. Anyway.
No, they very well know. Like, it's okay that they know that you're following them.
Oh, well, to them, he's Clive Jeffries.
Clive? Okay. So your payments are enough to even settle Clive's and then some. So, Magnus accepts it as a tip.
Nice.
But he'll pocket it, and as you all are kind of figuring out what your next steps are, he just takes away whatever is finished, starts cleaning it up, brings everything to the back, and starts looking at other people. Clive, you notice that as the nobles in the back at this background table are kind of settling their tab, they just brashly, one of them throws a very hefty sounding coin purse on the table and starts kind of like doling out how much they owe. And you know, just from the sound of it, it sounds like there's a lot of gold in that damn bag.
Just in relation to the door, where would they be?
They're a little bit farther back into the bar, so I would say like one of the back corners, a little bit more secluded because they apparently needed to likely talk about something a little bit more more secretive. But they after they would start paying up, they would likely pass by the bar itself where you're seated at in order to exit.
And is this just a coin pouch hanging off the belt?
Right now he has it on the table, but yes, it looks like he would have fashioned it to his belt.
Okay, well, if they're planning on leaving soon, I'll just make myself inconspicuous for now.
Okay.
Continue my tea.
Yeah, you can easily keep an eye on him. It's not so busy that you'll lose him. It is annoying that more people are coming in and kind of crowding the area, and none of them look like they have as much money as these two do. But
right.
Yeah, they're still within eyesight for you.
Okay.
Das, Jesus. But yes, you two are allowed to direct however you want to direct. Ultimately, obviously, you need some paperwork signed, but I don't think Dahkiir is in necessarily a rush to do any of that because it's paperwork.
Right. Where could we go to see if, I'd like to go stretch my legs before we go sign anything, if you don't mind.
Oh, I'm sure we can do that. I wouldn't mind walk a little bit to walk around the town, look what's in the market.
Yeah, that'd be a great pastime. We don't have to rush. After all, gotta get these cakes settled in my stomach. Didn't think it through with my ale.
Yeah, dark ale and any kind of hefty food. Probably not super. I mean, you are a stout though. You are a dwarf, so
It's just like a big rock in her stomach there.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I gotta go walk that off.
But you're all located in the market district within Boisterous Bard. It's on the edge of the market district, so if you walk back towards where you need to be or where you're going in the ministry district, you'll have plenty of time to walk off the food and stretch your legs and whatnot. It is quite a packed market district. It's one of the major places that just brings a lot of revenue for the city. They have pretty much multicultural exports coming in and out of this location all the time. You'll have plenty of snack stalls to choose from if you feel peckish, even though you just ate. And there's plenty of locations you can go into to like from alchemy shops to tailoring. Everything that you would need is kind of located in this one little district. Wait, Jesus.
All right.
Of course, they're talking about leaving. Clive's eyes are darting from them to the coin purse, them to the coin purse, like, don't leave just yet.
Not yet.
Well, I do have to spend a bit of time putting the scrolls away into like a pouch.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and I have to fuss with my owl, of course, because he didn't get any flapjacks, so he's very cross with me.
Yeah, he's probably a little upset, but I'm gonna say there is a lot of extra scrolls too, so even though they brought extra scrolls along with them, they still feel that they deserve something for the work that they did.
Oh, they sure do. And I pull out one of my homemade owl treats.
Just like a dead rat.
It's pretty much a dead rat.
Okay.
Homemade.
Homemade dead rat.
Freshly dead.
Freshly conjured this morning.
Freshly conjured this morning just for him. And it's not the perfect place for him to eat, but you know, maybe nobody will feel sick if they see an owl swallow a rat whole.
You know, at some point, you're going to have to show me how to get one of those on my own. They look very handy.
They are very handy, and I'd be happy to show you how.
You see Magnus like pass by as you're starting to pull out from what looks like a wizard fanny pack. You pull out what would be, you know, the rat treat to your owl, and he goes, "Please don't feed it on the bar. I just wiped up."
Not on the bar. Don't sit there. Right here on the shoulder. Right here. Right here. I'm so sorry. Really sorry. And Quill eventually will comply, but they're a little brat, so.
You see a almost like a scornful look on Al's face, and it reluctantly listens and does what needs to be done.
I give it little scritches underneath its beak while it feeds.
It has a little nom, and you know, you can tell that it's relatively satisfied.
Oh, great. Maybe you won't peck at me while I need to go do business.
In the background, Clive, you start to hear the chairs and the loud bag, a coin purse of the one of the nobles that's getting up. They're both getting up, but one of them clearly has quite a hefty coin purse on himself, and you know, it's pretty brazenly attached to the side of his belt. He does have kind of like a robe and whatnot, but he doesn't really care to hide it. He feels, obviously it's a market district. Market districts, in your experience, is a little bit more patrolled by the agency, which is basically like the cops of the city, than pretty much anywhere else, because this is where all the business is, this is where all the money is. But there's, as far as you're aware, nobody in the Boisterous Bard that works for the agency, so but he attaches it to his hip, very noisily so, kind of puffs out his cape in a very, you know, braggart-like flourish, and him and his cohort start to walk towards the front and the exit.
So as they get up, I will slip off the bar, excuse myself to Dahkiir and Lore. I just need to, you know, relieve myself a little bit.
Oh, gotcha. One of those.
And we'll move toward the nobles, but act like I'm heading towards the rest area.
Okay.
The restroom or whatever.
And then you start to approach them, and you know, they kind of see you to a degree, but they don't really think much of it because they think obviously you're headed towards the like the bathroom area, and you know they continue straight on as they were.
And I'm assuming it's a little crowded in the establishment at this point.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than what it was. I wouldn't say it's, you know, shoulder to shoulder, but you know, there's people that are trying to get in and get their tables before it's too crowded.
Right. So I'll turn a little bit to the side to try and slip past them, and let's just see if I can grab that coin purse.
All right, sleight of hand.
Oh no. I don't know why this didn't show up in here, but that was a 1.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh.
It's +5, but still it's a natural 1 roll.
Yeah. Let me see. I think it's probably not linked. Like you have to go to the account. I would double check that because that's what happened last time or last night.
Oh, you know what? It's because I made a copy of the character. Let me try that.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, I didn't get any.
It's
I spelled that wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's wrong. Chat, at some point in time, I'll be able to link what we're seeing
It's just
here.
a test roll.
That's fine. You can re-roll it if it. All right.
It's not much better.
No, but it's not a critical failure, which is good.
Right.
It's way better than anything. You essentially, you know, you go up and you try to do the whole bump in, I'm sorry type ordeal, and you just can't. You can't get it. It's more or less that you failed to grab the cash, and you weren't necessarily outed because it wasn't that terrible of a roll out of character. Right. But yeah, you felt it, but he tied it pretty tightly to his belt loop. The good part about this is you likely have a good idea as far as where they're headed. Right. And eventually you'll be headed in the same direction. Now, if you'll pass them again, who knows? But at the very least, they have a lot of money. They're in the market district, and they're very likely going to be headed to the ministry district, back to where they came from, to their offices at some point in time.
Just sigh softly to himself. This is why I don't work in the morning.
It's just that little bit of whiskey that threw you off.
That and the hangover, probably.
No, let's not talk about the hangover.
So anyway, he'll make his, finished heading to the bathroom area, and then just kind of wash his hands and come back out.
Dahkiir and Lore hear this faint, sad Hulk walking away music playing in the background. You're not entirely sure where it's coming from because the bards haven't really set up to perform just yet. But as Clive is walking back to you, you hear this. You're like, what?
What? Did you hear that? I didn't think the bard started playing until evening.
But yeah, it's wherever you choose, and or you want to see any kind of sights before you head off for business, you're more than welcome to peruse the streets of the market district of Salus and go shopping or whatever it may be.
Oh, I'm mostly just going to be looking at stuff and making this like, oh hey, I like that. Oh, that's very pretty. Oh, that's lovely. Wonderful. Maybe I'll check that out later. Stuff like that.
Yeah,
certainly.
We're window shopping, looking for interesting things. Maybe like Veloom's script work for me. And I'm probably looking for paper and ink on the cheap because I'm gonna have to do a lot of writing. It looks like.
You'll definitely come across shops like that. There is you're mostly used to working. Especially in association with the library, so you likely have a hookup or at least a contact within the paper industry within the city to to get some cheap supplies. So we can come up with the shop. If you want to have like a personal tie to them, we can come up with the shop at some point in time. But you can likely stop by that particular location and you know, pick up some basic supplies if you need more ink or you know, just parchment in general. You should be able to easily acquire it.
Oh, perfect. If it's on the way, I'll probably get a few, like a... I don't know. I don't even know how much it would be. Like 10 sheaves or whatever.
It probably wouldn't cost you that much at all. We can come up with the price later. I'm not terribly worried about that out of character. You know, if it's super important and not, you know, narrative based or anything like that, then or narrative based but also like impactful to like roles and stuff, then it would be one thing. But
yeah,
you can...
it's more for background plot character driven reasons.
Yeah, I don't like penalizing players for stuff like that. I actually like to encourage it. So you can pick up that stuff easily and it won't cost you much at all. You know, we'll say a narrative amount of money, a narrative amount of copper that you spend on just the paper alone.
We've worked out some sort of deal.
Yeah, certainly.
I think the only thing Dahkiir would stop for is if he had to actually get something for the office, or he's supposed to get some supplies or what have you. But otherwise, he's just mostly browsing.
It's very likely that your office assistant has that covered. Essentially, and we'll get to it here in a bit, but you have a live-in assistant that helps take care of the home/office for you.
Fantastic.
So you typically don't have to go out for supplies unless it's just something that you want.
Okay,
it's one of the benefits.
And Clive will likely just be hanging back a good dozen steps, just keeping an eye on the crowds.
Yeah, it's a very stereotypical early, I would say late morning crowd at this point in time. You know, you see a lot of individuals that are coming out of their households and needing to purchase supplies for breakfast, dinner. You pass by what's likely the food area of the markets. So you have a lot of butchers having their meats on display. You have a sign out front of a place called the Green Grocer, horribly misspelled. You all know that it is an orc that has a very interesting speech impediment as well as spelling errors on his sign, but he's really nice and he has often the freshest greens that you could probably find in Salus. There is a couple of other different places that you swing by. Littlefoot's alchemy shop. It's in the shape of a mortar and pestle, and often it is either smoking, smells like fire, or yeah, it just looks like a disaster in general. But it's a very good place to find alchemy reagents if you need them. But all in all, it is relatively uneventful as you walk back through the market district. Very standard stuff. You start to see more and more patrols from the agency that kind of come and just check on the individual storefronts, especially the market stalls that don't have anything that they could lock up with or anything of that nature. You know, nothing that can be outright secured like a normal shop. They try to swing by and make sure everybody is on the up and up, and nobody needs anything or any kind of protection for any means necessary. You have some musicians out on the street that are playing some music, and you know, they're gathering crowds as they're making basically a lot of noise that's just attracting a lot of attention. And some of it's good, some of it needs a little bit more practice, but you know, that is the life of the streets. You either get better or you find another profession. But eventually you make it to the edge of the market district, and on the edge of the market district, there is a large bridge that separates the markets from the ministry district, and it is watched over. And Dahkiir, you're rather used to this particular scenario. There are security check-ins just to make sure that no raucous, just meanders into the ministry district. Most of the families, if not individuals there, are obviously there for business. It's not something that is open entirely to the public. It is, but it isn't. You don't necessarily see a lot of individuals that kind of wander in just to see the sights. It's mostly people that go through to that district for business. And it has a lot to do with obviously the well-being of not only Salus itself, but also the cultures that are represented from within it, and obviously the Dragonborn are one of them. So as you pass by as you are walking down the bridge to pass into the market district, you go through a normal check-in from the agency. It's basically almost like a toll booth on either side of the bridge, and they ask for your papers. You likely already have some kind of identification with you, just notating you are who you are, and they kind of freely allow you passage with your guests.
Dahkiir most likely you greets them by name and just,
Right.
Tries to chat with them pleasantly as he does this.
This is a common occurrence, so we probably call this person by their first name.
Oh yeah.
Already have our paperwork ready, right? Because if there's a line.
Yeah,
So,
the line wouldn't be extensive in the slightest. Most of the time, I would say that there are individuals that do make a habit of going out early and coming back, so that way they don't get hit by a lot of traffic in the market district. But for the most part, I would say it's usually around like a lunchtime where you may see a fair amount of the bureaucrats leave the ministry district. And a lot of times at night when they're going to the ones that don't outright live in the ministry district, where they go and go to their homes, they leave the district and they leave work essentially and go home for the night. Clive, you do happen to see that there's a couple of individuals that look familiar checking through the checkpoint right before you all did. We'll call him Mr. Moneybags.
Sorry, what?
I was gonna say you happen to notice that one Mr. Moneybags has checked in through the kind of tolls into the ministry district right before you all did.
I'll just scan the crowd, keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for the one that got away.
It's definitely him. They seem to part ways, at least down the district itself is kind of semi-sequestered off into the different areas depending on what culture you're trying to represent. This individual is a human, and they're just trying to represent obviously the from what it looks like the Salus in general, so the humans within Salus. And you're kind of quite used to this because of the fact that you've been here for quite some time, so you know how a lot of it works. So he's kind of meandering towards the human-ish part of the ministry district, and while you typically don't frequent this location an insane amount of times, you are kind of familiar with the layout, so you have a good idea as far as where they're going, which is kind of in the opposite direction of where you all need to go.
It's kind of... and keep following the people I'm being paid to follow.
Damn responsibilities.
Oh, let's see here. Oh, I think we should find someone to help after this. Where do you think we should go? And I look around for Clive, who's been suspiciously quiet this whole time, but is part of our group, and I want to this is a common occurrence for our outings, so me being short, there being a crowd, it takes me a moment before I sort of wave over to Clive and give him the, like, hey, I hope you're okay over there, sort of, wave.
Yes? Something you need?
Oh, just wanted to apologize for having to do all this sort of administration this morning.
Yeah, well, needs must. Just kind of looking around, see if there's anything else possibly enticing coming near me.
It doesn't really. I mean, you have your standard low traffic bureaucrats walking around, but you can't really spot if there's anything that's overly appealing. You just recognize that one individual.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there anything you needed from me? What?
Well, maybe, actually, perhaps you would know where we could get some, field work, I guess is the best way to put it. Someone who needs something done.
Anything to get us out of this dreary office.
Yes.
It's actually not that dreary, but having to see the same four walls every day for hours on end it gets personal.
And I'm going, cabin crazy, as we used to call it back home.
And I'm guessing I would know such a place?
I mean,
Perhaps?
you probably okay. So your family's thieves guild obviously has jobs, but the ilk that usually partakes that doesn't seem like it measures the same as Dahkiir and Laura here. So there is another location that's called Salus Salvage that's more for like mercenary work. It is something that again maybe doesn't really feel like it fits the bill for two casters that aren't generally in the rough and tumble. Like you're obviously feeling like you're babysitting two preppy guys that want to get their feet wet with something that they have no concept of, at least to your perspective.
Right. Is there something that can come to mind that would really be a milk run, but they would find entertaining?
You might be able to find something through the family that is a little bit more low-key and not as illegal, so to speak.
I do kind of like the... Oh yes, let's go out and go find something fun to do mentality that we have.
Oh, I'm just here because I'm being paid.
Pretty much. Like, and I think Laura has come to understand Clive as sort of like a... If Clive had other better paying options, probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Oh, he does, but when the family says jump...
Good to know.
You guys continue to walk through the Ministry District. I'll read you a little something. Cleaned and polished to perfection, the streets of the Ministry District are even more well kept than the markets. The city of Salus strives to have a shining example of its inclusiveness and grandeur to the rest of the world, at least on the surface. The scaled courts of the Ministry are further downstream, but are properly represented with a signage of regal dragon busts roaring in a spectacular display of strength, spewing silhouetted flames in the proper direction of the offices and dorms. Coat of arms, a dragon plunging a sword into a mountain, greets the group as they approach a sizable building capable of housing more than a small family of nobility. Dahkiir approaches the door to the mansion-like domicile and enters the foyer before being followed by his companions. We'll wait a sec. Oh, never mind. Oh, he's back. So this is your domicile, at least for the time being, Dahkiir. It is a rather large household slash office as well. Most of the downstairs itself is looks basically like a house or a common area where you can entertain guests if need be. You know, there is a waiting room as well, and your assistant, a jade-colored dragonborn named Nami, is generally there almost at all times, not only making sure the household is presentable. By no means she's not like a maid or anything of that nature, more like an office coordinator for you. So if something needs to get cleaned, done, whatever, she tries to organize it, gets it ordered, whatever it needs to be done, basically.
Nami, good to see you. I trust that nothing new has shown up, has it?
At first she kind of looks sort of confused as you enter. She could have sworn that you were possibly already here and upstairs in the office, so she's just kind of confused, and she's like, Dahkiir, did you not come earlier? I could have sworn I heard your voice and you said you were going to your office and that was it. I heard multiple individuals with you, so I thought you were just seeing a client or something.
That is strange. I was over having breakfast over at the bar. I'll have to go take a look, gentlemen.
A strange occurrence.
I'm going to briskly make my way up to my office.
All right. As you go up, obviously it's like a flight of stairs because it is on the second story, and right in front of the stairs is where your office would be, almost like dual. They don't have any windows on them, but it's basically like French doors that are that open outwards, so that way you can actually reveal more to the area. It opens it up in such a degree that it's a big reveal if you're ever like sitting at your office. Go ahead and everybody roll me. Everybody that's coming up, I'm assuming it's everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very curious. I don't even think about how strange it might be because it's such a mystery.
Clive
This
would
office
likely
brisk.
grab somebody's wrist and tell them stop and put a finger up to his lips, motioning them to be quiet, and then go up to check things out himself, probably likely.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's. I nod and let Clive pass.
So, just as quietly as I can, slip up the stairs and put an ear near the door to see if it's open or not.
It's not. It's both of the doors are shut. You can tell just by walking up to it, but you're not entirely sure if it was previously opened. Assumingly it was from what Nami had said. But go ahead and roll perception just to see if you can kind of hear anything within the office.
Nice.
That's good. So you hear some shuffling going on about within the office. You can't really tell because there's not even the keyhole seems like it's a complex lock, so you can't it's not like a skeleton key where you can look through the keyhole and see what's inside.
Right.
But you do hear almost like some dragging going on from within. It's not like furniture dragging. It seems to be like it's maybe some kind of cloth or something of that nature being dragged across the floor.
Just quietly wave them up to be next to me.
I shall try to creep forward as quietly as I can.
Are any of you trying to be stealthy?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
It seems like that's appropriate. Let's see here.
Covered on the 17.
Keyword is trying.
Yeah. Perfect.
I guess go ahead and give me a roll too, Clive. You're gonna be way better at this than they are. There you go.
not on much.
I mean, that's still it's still better than. All right, give me 1 second.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay. As you both start to climb up, Clive, you hear that the rustling, whatever is dragging across the ground, suddenly just like stops.
All right, hold up a hand as a gesture to tell them to stop moving.
You don't, at least for a brief moment, you don't hear anything else that's happening within the office.
Slowly check the door to see if it's locked.
It does not seem to be locked. It seems like whenever you decide to kind of pull on the handle, there's no resistance. And for you, you know that means there's no locking mechanism in place at this point.
Oh, likely the cover is kind of blown, but we'll see. Let's see if I can just crack the door slightly and try and look in to see if I can see anything without being spotted.
As you look at, what was your previous perception again? What kind of 17? Yeah, okay. Let me see here. Yeah, as you kind of look in, you do notice that there are two figures, one on each, I would say each corner. There's basically a far end room, and I'll show you here in a second. A far end window, rather, that there is two figures that are trying to be as stealthy as they can in whatever shadows that they could find, are hiding on the opposite ends of each side of that particular window, and there looks to be a body that is on the ground of the office.
Okay. I guess I'll quietly wave them over again to tell them to follow me.
Okay. I approach and I ready in action to cast a spell.
Okay. Yeah, just let me know when and if everybody is going into the room.
Yeah.
I'm also reading a cantrip.
I'll try to quietly convey the information of, one over there, kind of thing, just with some hand gestures.
Yeah, I think that's easily conveyed for everybody in here. But give me 1 second. So what we'll do is, if you want, we'll take just a small 5-minute break, and once we get back, 5 or 10 minute break, however long you guys need, and then when we come back, we'll go in depth into whatever this room holds.
Alrighty.
All
right, so I'll see you all in about 5.
Yep.
You shortly.
Hey everybody, I'm setting up some stuff. I hope everybody has had a good night. Hey Ecthalion, thank you again, Winged and Doss. You both are lovely, and I appreciate it. And I hope you had plenty of rest after last night. You missed. I think you both probably missed some cameos. This group unknowingly saw you all exit, and also saw Ecthalion miss exchange with the orc monk that was present at the start of your scenario. So it's good fun stuff. This is worth it. So whenever, just as a little in, I'm trying to obviously keep a timeline, so that way everybody everybody can coincide with one another if need be. So that way, if for some reason our little thief Asher needs to do something with some of the other thieves because Stinky has an agreement or something like that, it can be easily done. You know, things like that. I want to be able to mix and match whenever we want to, so that way I do want to establish everybody as their own group, but I would love to have you all kind of like do guest appearances on some of the other groups from time to time. I think it could be very, very fun. And I am setting up something for these gentlemen. What'll be fun? It's like it's a living city, right? Yeah, it's a living city / world. So the idea that you all would not encounter each other, to me, is kind of silly. And although it makes a little bit of coordination and everything a little bit more difficult, I want to give everyone the opportunity to experience each other's characters, because you all have cool characters, right? I think you all have very interesting characters with all cool backgrounds, and it'd be a shame if you couldn't share that with one another. Living end dragons? No dungeons here. Dungeons and living? No, there'll probably be some dungeons, but I'm all about the socialization aspect and whatnot. I find it super, super fun. What's gonna be fun, I think, is that next week on Friday, Sneaky Boys and Sewers. So that whole encounter with Stinky was not planned at all. I actually am going to have the next group basically interact with Stinky a little bit more in that area, so they're gonna probably see some of the same things that you all did. I just have it written out a little bit more for them, because I fully expect them to follow that lead, so to speak. But you guys were just like impromptu going to the sewers. I was like, all right, I guess we're doing this. It's probably why we carried over a little bit longer than expected. It was fun. It was still fun regardless. So I'll remove that. I'm not gonna worry about that at all. Setting something up in... Never ran much in cities, so this element is very new and shiny to me. Oh, really? I like political intrigue. We're still gonna have other things, right? You're still gonna be able to go to certain places. You know, there are certain things within the sewers that are very dungeony too, and there will actually be dungeons or things similar. So it won't be too far-fetched for you all to be, you know, it all depends on where you go. I'm just setting up at least a starting point, and I'm gonna see where it takes us. So you love new? I'm glad you're enjoying it. Okay, I am almost done with what I need to do here. There's that. What is going on here? What is happening? I think I may have to exit out and then re-enter this. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Sorry, I'm messing with something right now. It's so silly. Okay. And then I need one other thing, and then I'm going to make sure everybody's still good. It would be so cool if I can get everybody's like custom figure at some point in time. Shay. Oh, that's not what we want. We'll just do this one. This guy will look familiar to some of you. Oh, you're fine, Shay. I'm just making sure I'm set up for this next little scene. All right, I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay? Give me just a few seconds, and then we're gonna continue. Okay, be right back. Sad hair is not in the cheek. Oh my god. That poor archer. That poor like crossbowman. You guys just the elf and all right. We're not gonna get too revealing. Those couple of guys. You guys just that lizard person too messed up so much. Yes, you can move the arms and joints in Hero Forge now, which is super cool. That's actually how I got the pose in Ashton right now. So like within Hero Forge, I had it so he's essentially resting one of his hands on the pommel of his short sword. So it looks like he's just resting it there, and he's like basically come and get some. Super cool. Yeah, I like the way that they fine-tuned a lot of things within Hero Forge. Okay, let's get going. Let's get this rolling. Okay, I am back. Thank you for being patient.
No worries.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, so I'm assuming we're gonna open and enter.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I am.
Is Mohi back as well?
Yes, sounds like it.
Yes. We're gonna reveal this mystery.
Scooby-Doo this shit.
Right.
Okay, so let me share as well. Hold on. I'll share it over Discord so that way you can see it a little bit better. That way you can see the representation that I have made quickly in Tailspire. And I'll reveal the scene. Obviously, you can see pretty much everything. Because of the fact that Mohi has shared that obviously there are individuals in here as well, you all will know the location. It looks like two human thieves or rogues. They look roguish in nature. Obviously, on the left-hand side here, there is a dwarf that looks to be dead right in front of Dahkiir's desk. And this, considering you all just entered in, you can essentially prepare. You have prepared spells, or you said you were preparing spells, which is cool. Let me know your positioning that you wanted to enter in at, and I'll adjust it as we go by. Front man is going to be Mohif right now. Obviously, the Dragonborn with the green flame in his hand. It's going to be Dahkiir, and then Lore, you are going to be the token dwarf that
token dwarf figurine. We meet again.
Has a keg on his back.
Oh, let's see. I wanted to cast invisibility on Clive as soon as the door opened.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
So it just looks like two of us walked in.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This manly wizard. That's probably not a good
Very
idea.
gentlemanly.
And I think so. If we had a moment to put a spell up before, like if he's got time to put up invisibility, I will probably put Armor of Agathis on myself.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, whatever works. You are both, because you understand that you're going into that stressful situation. You're more than welcome to do just that.
What's the limitations on invisibility?
Let's see here. You become invisible until the spell ends, which can be up to an hour as long as I hold concentration. Anything you're wearing and carrying is invisible. The spell will end as soon as you attack or cast a spell.
Okay.
And I will say this, that you already had basically stealth rolled, so as far as you're aware, the two targets that are in here are unaware, at least of Clive's presence.
Before the action begins, I guess. What's the dwarf on the ground look like?
From what you can tell, he looks like he is a sea-born dwarf. Relatively, he doesn't have like ultra fancy clothing on. He looks like, it's not necessarily commoner, I would say like business casual, but he doesn't look like he has traveled with like an expensive amount of cash on him or anything of that nature. He seems like he's appropriately dressed for maybe like the market district or something of that nature. Likely an outsider to this particular area, just from his clothes alone. But he is most certainly dead, if not dying. He's definitely not moving, that's for sure.
So the door is open now?
Yeah.
Or just cracked?
Yeah, we'll say you all are in. So at this point...
Okay. So have I been seen? Or did the invisibility go off before the door opened?
It went on, because it was being prepared before you all entered. It looks as if, at least to these two gentlemen, that two people entered.
Okay, then as soon as the door is open enough for me to do so, I will dash into the corner to the left of us.
So immediately to this way?
Yes.
Okay. And we will say, go ahead and everybody roll initiative. Let me see these two. Okay, good. Havoc made this easy on me.
Nice.
Oh my god.
These poor schmucks.
Oh. Such bad timing for them.
All right. Well, that's a bit better, but You know that you all are some fast people. So it looks like.
Fast as fuck, boy.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like Sanic in the corner here goes first if he wants.
All right. Just get this situated.
If someone dies, it's legally not my fault.
So, I'm going to move up to like in front of that dresser.
Like
and
this
then,
one.
probably like a quadrant back. There, right there, yeah. And then I will draw and throw my dagger at the farthest away.
Okay.
Just make an attack roll.
Yeah. His daggers can be thrown, so. Let me see here. That would be a hit. Let's go ahead and roll damage.
Nice. And I would assume that would also include a sneak attack damage.
Yeah, of course. You're gonna be revealed at this point in time, but you definitely get the sneak attack damage.
Right.
You were mega sneaky.
So there's just the dagger and then sneak attack.
Oh, it's kind of a low roll.
Yeah, I know, right?
But it still hurts. Like throwing a dagger, you know, at at a character at your level is still very, very hefty. So just out of nowhere, you see the shimmer of the invisibility just drop, and a dagger just goes flying from. Because I mean, I think the only person that could noticeably know where. Actually, I don't even know if that actually works. Regardless, the shimmer drops. I was thinking like Lore may be able to tell where he's at because he's utilizing the spell. But regardless, like the dagger just seemingly flies out of nowhere, just pegs this guy right in the shoulder, knocks him back against the wall, and he's just kind of bewildered, like, where the hell did this come from?
And then my rapier will be in hand, as I am without my dagger now.
Okay. All right. Well, technically, I guess you both have the same dexterity, don't you?
Rochambeau.
Yeah, whoever wants to go first, either Dahkiir or Lore, you both are definitely going first.
I'm a little bit slower because my initiative comes from my intelligence.
Okay.
So I'm like tactical or strategic more than
Okay,
fast.
I can go before that. Well, since I see that the guy suddenly grew a dagger in him, I'm going to go ahead and Eldritch Blast him.
Hey, go for it. It's what I forgot he's got to make a roll, doesn't he? Oh, that's just 2 hit. That would miss.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 7 misses. So, I'll also go ahead and probably like put myself up like near where the table is.
Okay. Just tell me where. So every square would be 5 feet, just so you know.
Like 15 feet forward, next to the table on this side of the table.
Like right there. Is that okay?
I'm waiting for it. Let me just look.
You might be able
Yeah,
to...
that's good. That's good.
Okay. I was gonna say you could probably. I have it streaming on Discord as well, so it hopefully is a little bit more.
I need to just pop
faster.
that out.
It's like you throw an Eldritch Blast. What does your Eldritch Blast look like, by the way?
It looks like So like there's a crackling energy. Someone's some stones together into a bolt of rock that fires toward him.
Okay, cool. Of course, it puts like a somewhat of a dent in the side of your wall. Like it hits right beside him, and that's just another thing that Nami's gonna have to clean up.
He frowns a bit because oh damn it.
Yeah, I was wanting to hit him, not my walls. All right, Lore.
Lore thinks about it for a moment, sees what happens, and decides to cast Magic Missile, sending 1 dart towards the one in the back and 2 towards the one in the front.
Okay.
So I pull out my rod, and 3 little hammers made of magical aether appear.
Oh, nice.
And 1 flies out towards the back corner.
You'll have to...
Deals 3 damage.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you'll have to remind me. All right, so 3 damage to that gentleman.
And 2 hammers fly towards the one in the front.
All right. Let me notate this real quick. Three. All right. So you see as the little hammers, well, they're probably not that little. They just they fly almost like Mjolnir across the wind and obviously seek their targets and get hit solidly. The one guy in the back and then obviously the guy on the left hand side. They take a little bit of pummeling, but it doesn't seem to phase them too much. The gentleman in the back doesn't seem to be like he's having a great time, as he's already taken a dagger that has impaled the crap out of his shoulder, almost an Eldritch Blast, and now some arcane magic missile damage. So you look, he looks like he's very pissed off at this point in time. And you see him start to go for what looks like almost like a canister that's an inhalant. And as he breathes it in, go ahead and, well, actually, anybody that wants to, you can roll an arcane roll, or at least an intelligence check, just to see.
I'll do that.
Holy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Jeez.
We are smart.
Smart.
We're smart.
SM or T.
I was just thinking that.
Just don't burn your diploma on your wall, please. But at least Dahkiir and Laura, you do recognize at least the vapor that comes out of it as being aether in nature. It is something he's doing is imbibing him with some kind of arcane something.
That is not good news.
Spaceballs fresh air, yes. So yeah, he basically just takes a moment to breathe that in, and he essentially decides to throw a dagger at we're gonna say the one that almost hit him, which is Dahkiir. Oof. So yeah, what's your AC again, Dahkiir?
Mine's a 14.
Okay, so you do get hit with a dagger. Let me see if I could roll the damage real quick.
No. They also have little pointy daggers.
Wonder if it'll allow me to do the plus. Give me a second. It should allow me to. Okay. So take 7 points. He hits you pretty. God, that was actually a really good roll for damage. just out of instinct, whatever the first person and the first target he sees, you can see that his eyes just basically light up with essentially the infusion of this aether that he just huffed in, and the pain that he was seemingly feeling before, the damage isn't negated. Like the wounds still persist and they exist on this gentleman, but he seems to at least give less of a crap about what damage he's taken, and he just kind of like straightens up. You see his shoulders like puff back more instead of him being hunched over and like grasping for his wound, and then he just chucks that dagger right at you, and it just hits you square in the side.
So when it hits, there's a flare of magical energy as the protective spell I have around me flares and grabs it and halts it.
Okay.
And so it's absorbed. I still have 3 temp hit points remaining.
Okay, cool. I kind of figured that was the case.
Oh.
Gotta get that armor.
I'll
and
have to learn such things someday. Maybe.
maybe. All right, and the next individual who is basically right by Clive's side is going to enact. He does notice that there is someone who has been casting magical spells on him, and sees it as an opportunity to try to clear some distance if possible. And he will also dash.
Oh.
So he just circles around whatever danger he could find and runs up and essentially tries to shank who he knows would be an effective target to his ire. Oh, and yeah, you definitely have more than a 7 AC. So he goes to essentially try to stab, but for whatever reason, that blow that you gave him with the magic missile threw him a little bit more off balance, as well as his dash, and he just misses entirely as he tries to like just clumsily stab at you because he didn't quite expect to be as winded as he is.
Whatever they hopped has caused them to go wild. Be careful.
Straight PCP. All right, top of the initiative, Mogi.
I'm going to move up on the man in the corner who has my dagger sticking out of him. And I'm actually going to put the point of my rapier to his throat and try to intimidate him into submission.
Okay. Do you happen to have intimidate?
I do.
Okay.
Nice.
Let's see. Go ahead and roll for intimidation then.
Very nice.
15. All right. For the time being, you can see that he just kind of he pauses, like he doesn't think that it is worth at this point in time right now to enact. So he just kind of he looks at you very, very pissed off, like he wants to do something, but he understands that right now he's literally backed into a corner and he doesn't really have the wherewithal to do anything about it. So at this point in time, it looks like he's basically sedated.
And then I'll call over my shoulder to the other one. Don't try nothing, or I got your man.
I pull out my warhammer and look menacingly at the one next to me. Yeah, you really don't want us to finish this.
Well, actually, who is next?
I think that would be me.
what'll it be, sir?
Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and try to drop another shot, but this time to the guy behind me.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing that this might just possibly persuade him to give up. It looks like that hit.
Yeah, that hit.
And I will do 3 damage because I'm going to add 2 bludgeoning damage with my one of my subclass abilities.
Okay.
Nice.
So he takes just a wall. What was this again? Oh, another Eldritch Pass. Okay. He takes another wallop to the back of his. Well, this time to the back of his head, and he kind of stumbles forward a little bit, but obviously it's a very quick thing that's happening right now. Obviously everything's kind of happening all at once, and we'll see what happens as it comes around to him. But Lore?
I pull out my warhammer with and double hand it and try to give him a nice pacifying knock on the noggin to make him unconscious and possibly more pliable for interrogation purposes. Because what the hell?
His head's gonna be more pliable after this if you're good.
And rest.
Oh my god, alright, go ahead and roll damage.
I tenderize him slightly.
This man's taking brain damage at this point in time.
Try to knock him unconscious.
Yeah. He looks very bruised and battered at this point in time, and you can tell that the blows that you're giving him is definitely wearing him kind of thin. But he's not down and out just yet.
Oh, close.
It's kind of like in a boxing match when you know someone's taking a lot of good right hooks and maybe an uppercut. He's a little wobbly in the legs.
Got you.
Little punch drunk. 1 too many hits with a snake.
Yeah. So it comes down to our gentleman in the corner's turn. And at this point in time, we're gonna see something here. No, he still feels like he's okay where he's at. He's still pissed off, like very irritated at the fact that he's basically cornered and feels like he's a bit outnumbered, but and he's very unhappy about that. But he's not moving so far. You can see like he's still tense, but he's not moving to do anything at this point in time. And then our boy that is getting the crap beat out of him again pulls out something and inhales it. Much to the same degree, and you can see the light blue aether surge through him, almost like it's like an adrenaline rush he gets. Then he starts to kind of reestablish his foothold on not being so wobbly, and he doesn't look like he's wanting to stop.
Uh-oh. We don't want to hurt you. We just want to know what the hell's going on. Youth. Oh!
All right.
Okay.
So, oh goodness. Okay, so this is lore. This may sting a little bit, and we'll go over the details here in a moment. But go ahead and roll 2. Let me see. What's your spellcasting ability? It's gonna be intelligence, right?
Yes.
Go ahead and roll 2 saving throws for me using your intelligence. Okay. All right. That's good. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna roll some stuff, and then I will describe what happens. Okay.
Ooh. This guy just like huffed something and did some anime punchery to my face.
Oh my god, alright, well. Okay, so what happens is you see that you know, after he decides to take his aether stimulant to just 1 degree. Hold on, give me a second. Yeah, Havoc, I'm gonna ignore you. Yeah, after his stimulant is taken, he takes two solid swipes at you. Now, you're used to seeing a lot of different types of material, especially being in the essentially in the business for weapons, really, when it comes down to it. And you understand that
this is fascinating.
Yeah, this not only is something that he inhaled, just something entirely different from what you're normally used to seeing, but also the weapons that he is using is quite unique. You're not entirely sure what it's made out of, but it's not a normal dagger from what you're accustomed to. And this is all, of course, at a glance, especially now that you've caught one to the side. It has done something to you that it is quite remarkable. You feel as if something has been sapped from you once you have been hit by this weapon. And in game terms, essentially, you temporarily, until you rest, lose 1 spell slot. But
Got you.
Essentially, the strike from this dagger just feels like there is something that is arcane that has left you, and you're not entirely sure how this happened because you've never been. It's almost like you cast something, but it's not your will that's doing it. Something has been forcibly taken from you whenever you're hit from this. So it feels very violating to a degree, because it is not something that you willingly expended. You did not say, I am choosing to expend this spell slot. It has been taken from you when you have been hit by this. So you take a little bit of damage, and you lose, obviously temporarily, 1 spell slot.
I mark it on my spell sheet, and I take 6 damage?
Yeah, 6 damage.
Alright. I'm taking the Delmaga. As soon as the dagger hits me and I feel that, I can't help but shiver uncomfortably, both at the possibilities of getting one of these daggers for myself for research purposes, but also that's probably what it feels like when aether is sucked from you unwillingly.
Yes, it was
so like,
not a great experience from firsthand knowing that something was just robbed from you, essentially.
I've just had a brilliant idea.
All right, so we're based. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I definitely want to knock them out now. I'm definitely curious now.
I like how positive you are after getting shanked.
This is the kind of experience we were hoping for.
Oh, brilliant. I would just be like, I am pissed. I got stabbed. Meanwhile, this dude's happy he got stabbed.
Not your normal outing in the morning.
It's the most interesting thing that's happened in this office in months.
Right?
This has strong taking a selfie while getting mugged in New York vibes.
Yes, it does. All right, top of the initiative, though. Go ahead, Bowie.
All right, not gonna move my rapier from where it is, but I will step a little closer and look at this man and say, "Call off your man, or this isn't going to end well."
Let's see what happens. All right. He just goes. He basically just yells to his partner. He's like, "They mean business. Stop!" And he's trying his best to plead with his teammate there. Let's see here. what I'll do is go ahead and because he failed so horribly on his essentially like a will save. Go ahead and because you're not actively trying to kill this dude. Roll another intimidation check, but with advantage on the partner.
And with advantage just means we roll twice and take the better with the 2, right?
Yep.
Jesus. All right.
I'm glad you at least got a 3 on one of them.
Trying so hard. Don't throw your life away.
Yeah, you're like, no, you better stop that. And obviously the guy's, from what you could tell, is not gonna pay heed to the warning. But yeah, if you wanted to shimmy, you're more than welcome to shimmy around a little bit, or if you're gonna stay put, obviously.
I'm keeping this guy under the sword. I don't want him going nowhere.
All right, cool. All right, next up.
Okay, so I'm going to move next to this guy that's up against Lore, and then move away to see if I can draw out an attack from him.
Okay, so you're moving closer. I'm sorry. I spaced out for a second. You said were you gonna move closer?
So 5 feet, move 5 feet toward him, 5 feet down, and then 5 feet down to the left. Trying to see if I can. No, other way. I'm trying to draw out an attack from him.
Oh, like an attack of opportunity?
Yeah. See if he'll go for it.
No, why not? Yeah. A man's on drugs.
And does he make the reaction attack?
Yeah, he does.
That's it.
Yep. So he is swinging with that same dagger. So yours is. Go ahead and do a charisma check for me.
Okay. Charisma save?
Yes. Sorry.
Oh, that wasn't good. Okay.
All right. Yep. That is definitely not good. All right. Let me.
No, but quick. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
The other question I have is if he actually does. If he only hits my temporary hit points, does it still go off? So I want to know how much damage he does too, because that could be an important question.
Yes, it would still go off.
Okay. Ooh, okay. He takes 10 cold damage.
Oh God.
Okay. That would. So basically, it's a trade-off, obviously, a little bit of a trade-off, but not in his favor, obviously. He goes to obviously stab you out of reaction because it's just like basically a blind, frantic stabbing at this point in time. He goes to stab, obviously, and inflicts some damage upon you. It goes through your temporary shield and whatnot. And you do have a spell slot sapped, but honestly, mechanically, because you're a warlock, you really don't give a shit anyway. But you do take a little bit extra damage, but as soon as that does, that cold snap happens, and he is just... he's out. So he's likely on the floor dying at this point in time.
That worked. I look toward
Lore shrugs a little bit. You should have listened. I try to, if he's still alive, I try to stabilize him. if we need to. Or do we just want to keep this one guy? We do need to, I guess, turn them in afterwards, but what the heck is going on here?
I mean, that's entirely your all's call. I don't know how you wanna roll with this.
At this point, Dahkiir is looking at the guys on the ground. The gambit worked, and now he's going to walk towards the guy that nursing the injury on his side, and then go toward the guy who's in the corner.
Okay.
You know, if you wanted to get an audience, you should have just left a message with the person downstairs. It's very rude to do it this way. So, what do you want?
He just stares at you, refusing to talk.
Well, Clive, what do you think?
I'll grab the hilt of my dagger in his shoulder and twist it.
Yeah, he'll probably scream a little bit, but he'll try to stifle it as best as possible. He'll take a few more points of damage. But it looks like, at least from his eyes, he's still under the effects of whatever he took. And that seems to be definitely influencing, I guess, his current state of mind to a degree.
Doesn't look like we're going to get anything out of him as I pull my dagger out. Tie him up. Let's see how he feels in an hour or two.
All right, let's see what I can do.
And as you... Go ahead.
I was going to say we should just tie these folks up and let the drugs wear off.
Got that detox. But yeah, I mean, you're more than welcome to, after you tie them up, you could take a look around. Like, obviously there is a third party here that you're not entirely sure, you know, what the deal is.
I'd like to
definitely look over that guy
body.
too.
But yeah, you obviously get a little bit lay of the land. In the future, the Serpent, we'll go through and we'll actually design your house, even within this this area. That way, if we have to go through it again or like see more of what's happening in the office type area, we can actually have a full-fledged layout. This is just an example of what it could look like. But yeah, I mean, you're very accustomed to what your office looks like. If you wanted to, at least starting off, go ahead and roll me a perception check so you can see if anything is basically out of place or if it looks weird or...
Oh yeah, he's definitely looking over to see if anyone's trying to disturb any of his paperwork or the books or stuff.
Okay.
I am not very good at it though.
Well, I mean, it's like an adrenaline rush, right? You just got into a fight in your own office. This was very, very not Monday morning-ish, you know?
And I'll probably also at some point, like once everything's calmed down and all the bodies are out of my room, probably carefully go through to see if anything's missing. But I'm not too worried about anything that's incredibly important.
Gotcha. If anybody else wants to mill around, these two gentlemen we'll say that they're actually tied up in the corners here. One is obviously still going to be on the ground suffering, but there is still the dwarf that can be observed.
I'd like to investigate that body and see if we can find out their identity, or like, are they with these guys? Like, what happened here? Since the two aren't talkative at the moment, we're gonna figure out, put together this these past events.
You know, from what you could tell, you're not entirely sure, just by the looks of him. Even if one or all of you rifle through this individual's pockets, he doesn't really have too much on him. He probably has some keepsake, some coin. You know, it looks like personal effects, but it doesn't look like he has any kind of like official official title or anything of that nature on him. No identification cards or anything of that nature that I would say most individuals that are associated with the ministry district would kind of carry around with them on a regular basis. It does come into question like how they actually got in to a degree, because if they were to go through the normal means of going across the bridges and whatnot, then they would have had to gotten stopped by the agency, or at least that checkpoint. But somehow they made it through. And ended up here. There may be certain other individuals that could identify this particular person, but as far as like your personal knowledge, or I would say even Clive's personal knowledge, and Dahkiir's personal knowledge, none of you can know who this person is.
So, what do you think?
Mondays.
Random happenstance? Unlikely.
Dahkiir has gone to the door and cast a quick cantrip.
Yep.
I put the notes in there, but basically he's calling out to his assistant. And then he comes back, well, I'm expecting that they're probably looking for something. I doubt they found it.
Yeah, so you can actually hear Nami run out, essentially, to go get the authorities.
I'd like to make an investigation check to investigate this crime scene.
Okay, go for it.
See if there's anything deeper we could manifest before the guards get here and change everything around.
Yeah, awesome. Go for it. If anybody wants to aid, I'll give you advantage. That's pretty good, honestly.
And I will offer some assistance because, hey, it's my office. I should know where to look.
That's true. Go ahead and just roll it again, just in case you get something higher.
Does not appear so.
All right. So upon investigation, with the help of Dahkiir being like, I usually keep this here. I usually keep this there. I have some valuables locked up here, like in that chest in the corner, and so on and so forth. You're able to spot, like I said, with the help of Dahkiir, what looks to be like a note in Dahkiir's handwriting, but it's not. It looks very similar, and if it's brought to Clive's attention, he could probably pick up on it that it's a forgery. But it is a note stating the acquisition of an illegal method to acquire aether through a assumingly the individual that's dead on the ground.
Interesting. Well, I present it out in the open and look over at Dahkiir. Does any of this make any sense to you at all?
No,
Because
no.
all I see here is, well,
I mean, if that was
Richard
true,
Walton.
it would certainly be very embarrassing to my family.
it truly would be.
That is not true. And I did not write that.
I believe that. Especially considering this person here probably wouldn't be doing this. It's so ham-fisted.
It is very, but, perhaps people are still underestimating me.
Interesting. You lead an interesting life, friend.
I try not to.
But you wanted an adventure.
I mean,
Oh.
I try not to lead an interesting life when I'm at home.
True. In the sanctity of your own office. I'd like to take one of those daggers.
From the guy that's
In fact,
basically
I'd like
knocked
to
out.
take... Yeah, if he has more than one, I'd like to take at least two, because one for research purposes and one for who knows.
Sure. I mean, like, what are they gonna say to the cops, that you stole it from them?
Pretty much.
So yeah, you can go over and basically get whatever you need to get from off of the guy that's basically barely, if even, conscious.
Right. I will put strange daggers.
Yeah, you could put them like that for right now, until you do some research on them. I want to see if, let me see, I would assume probably Clive is close enough.
Yeah, he would be keeping an eye on the prisoners at this point, because he doesn't know anything about the office, so why is he going to be looking around there?
Yeah. Go ahead and I'm gonna say that go ahead and roll a it's not really a dex save. It'd basically just be like an ability check, like a reflex. Just go ahead and roll your dex.
Ow.
Okay, as you're basically on edge around this one guy because he's still very cognizant of what's going on. And I'm gonna give you the ability to act first because you know that it's coming. This guy is basically going to try to jump out this window at this point in time. The one that is conscious. And this is the second floor, but it does not apparently mean shit to him. So as he's basically turning his back and getting ready to go, you are more than welcome to do a slew of actions against him.
Oh yeah, he's definitely not going to be getting away. That's ridiculous.
If he's looking to jump out of a second floor, I'm sure he doesn't care about whether or not he lives, so
Quick question.
threatening like that's not going to work.
We're trying to knock him out, right? I'm not trying to kill him.
I mean,
I probably would be sitting at my desk, while we're still waiting for stuff.
position you there.
And he's standing at this point?
Yeah, he is still standing.
Just give him a little sweep behind the ankles. Put him back on the ground.
All right, go ahead and roll for me.
Give him a good trip.
Which would that be?
Just like an attack. You can use a weapon if you want. If you're trying to subdue, you can actively say you're subduing. You just don't hit with the blade or whatever.
That's just an unarmed strike. Just kick him basically kick him in the back of the knees, try and get him back on the ground.
Go ahead and roll damage for me.
That's the damage roll.
Yeah, okay. Forgot I would do something like that.
Eldritch blast at him.
You could do what you want. I mean, technically, if he's gonna still try to continue to go, which I'll roll to see if he actually gets tripped up at all.
Okay.
Technically, you both have bonus actions as well, because he would be moving out of a threat radius, at least from here, and then because you're just chilling and you still have line of sight on him, I'd allowed the Eldritch Blast as well.
Okay.
I could just...
He fucking falls on his face into the window. Like, he's not out of the office at all. He gets tripped up.
Man, I'm rolling like crap today.
Well, it looks like you have your consciousness privileges revoked.
It would have been really funny if I'd connected. Oh well.
Well, I think that maybe your gentleman was a little bit premature. Like, you were aiming for where he was probably gonna be, but Clive tripped him up so well that, like, you just shot over his head.
Yeah, I was gonna use repelling blast to move him 10 feet further away from me. So if he tried to dive out the window, he would have dived into the wall.
That would have been funny.
Thanks.
We'll say he's basically on the ground at this point in time. And
I'll just put a foot in the middle of his chest to make sure he doesn't try anything else.
yeah, absolutely. Eventually, it comes time to where Nami comes back with a couple of guards from the agency, and they enter the building and kind of as rushed as possible and try to see what's going on.
Gentlemen, thank you for arriving so timely. These individuals over here were intruding upon my personal office, and I don't even know who this man is, but I think they were doing something to him. But none of them should have been here, because I wasn't here. And also, I think someone was trying to frame me for something, because they left this note, and it is not mine.
So they basically nod, and it looks like it's a dragonborn as well as a human that basically arrive and you know, they take a look at everything in the office, and they say, sir, we're gonna have to obviously do an investigation here in the office. If you don't mind leaving whatever you can. You know, we understand that you are a reputable individual, and we're gonna collect all the evidence that we can to see what's going on at this point in time.
Of course. Yeah. No, I will happily let the guards of this fair city do the wonderful jobs that they do.
Of course. Thank you for coming out here at such short notice.
And they nod, but you can tell one of them, the human, essentially uses an incantation like message, and basically does something where his eyes kind of glaze over, and you know that something is happening where a message is possibly being relayed, and eventually what happens is, depending on if you all stay in this particular area to help watch it resolve or not, there is an investigation crew that does show up, and there's quite a bit of individuals you've probably never seen before. Clive may have encountered these individuals, but the agency has sent some very important individuals over to make sure that this is handled properly. So because it's involving someone of a noble family, and they want to make sure that it is taken care of post haste. Clive, as a mental note for you, and probably not known by these other two, these two were inhaling aether drugs, and you know that you've encountered them in the past before, not personally necessarily, but you know that there is a market for it, and these two individuals were likely addicts.
Right. And being both thieves, would I recognize them at all outside of, like, seen them around or anything?
You probably don't know them personally, but you can probably pick up, like, if are you looking them over at all or anything of that nature? You're just trying to figure out who they are.
Yeah.
You likely see it's not really a tattoo, it's more like a branding on their shoulders, that states that they're with a certain group within the city.
Okay. Well,
I can give you that
keep that
information
to myself
later.
for now.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we'll kind of wrap it up there. You guys resolved it. I was fully expecting more damage done to you to some degree, but also one of them to try to get away. But clearly that didn't happen. And then we'll kind of go into detail in the in-between, and obviously in the next session about what possibly was resolved of this, and maybe more information will surface about, you know, what's going down here.
Oh yeah.
Sounds good.
And I would say in the downtime, if you think of something lore-wise you'd want to move forward or uncover more of, you're more than welcome to shoot that with me, and I can, you know, we could do some rolls or whatever in the meantime. And if you want some more stuff revealed about something that has happened in this session, we'll go and do that too.
Perfect. We've got a lot of questions to ask.
Yeah. So, and there's going to be a little bit of downtime, so if you think that there's something you want to investigate, by all means, we'll set stuff up.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. I appreciate you guys stopping in and playing.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time.
All right, well, we'll obviously we got the channel. We'll figure out when the next time we could play is, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, works for me.
Sounds good.
All right, take care.
Yeah,
Have a good night, guys.
All right. I didn't want to go super long like we did last night, but this gets them established to have a little bit more fun, gives them a little bit more intrigue, right? Thank you all for playing. I'm glad we had some like run-ins. You all have a little bit of combat under your belt, and now there's more like intrigue that's going on, and hopefully we get to uncover more about what's happening behind the scenes, right? Oops. Yeah, all right, Winged, you fucking murder machine. I really don't like killing people, but I'm good at it. So yeah, next Friday is going to be the third group. They're gonna, well, I guess the first group will definitely see the interactions with some of the undergutter. But you know, you're definitely gonna be an interesting crew. What's really funny, Serpent, is the way that Mohi's character has to kind of like play as the babysitter for you two that are like, I really like just chilling and playing around and doing all this other stuff, and he's just like, man, I hope this really pays well. I hope I'm getting paid well. So it's really fun. And thanks again for everybody that's showing up. I really appreciate it. You know, the stream to me is just about having fun with everyone here, and help creating a story with, you know, friends that not only I've had for quite some time, but also new friends making along the way. So I'm hopeful that we'll all get to kind of add to each other's story in various ways, like group 1 or group 2 or group 3 will be able to impact everyone else to some degree. So the decisions that we're making, we're gonna go ahead and definitely write into what could be impacted to the other groups. So if you do something super major, you know, it's bound to happen. I can already imagine that the agency is going to be on high alert, so a lot of rogue and sneakiness actions are going to be a little bit harder to do, especially in the market district at this point. All right, let me see. Is there anybody streaming right now that we can just kind of raid? I think Jerp may be playing more Withering Rooms. Give me 1 second. We may just raid him. You don't have to stay. Jerp is just a friend. Friend of the channel. I think I need more sleep tonight, so I didn't want to stream for super long. Yeah, again, I really appreciate everybody stopping by. You all have a good rest of your night. I'm gonna raid Jerp, and then we'll start talking all individually about our next sessions. So enjoy the rest of your night. Let me set up this raid. It's been created. All right. No, thank you all. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your night. I'll see you all later. I'll be on Discord. If you have any questions or anything that pops up, let me know. But I'll see you all around. Okay, bye.